Oh, right.
You're on a lofty 88.9 radio with Attitude, and the Huddle Reformed, getting ready to live stream out in the studio with Pistols, of course. Been a good show today, Pistols.
Fantastic, Timmy. You feeling a bit better? You're looking a bit brighter.
Yeah, a bit of colour
every
back
minute.
in the, yes, I'm calming down.
It's only a game. It's only a game.
Yeah, Robbie Shearwood sent it in this.
Yeah, Robbie. G'day, Rob. Yeah, Good to hear from Rob.
He's unloaded more than we did.
Yeah. If you want to listen to Robbie's every Tuesday night, 5 to 6.
Postman's Perspective. Very good.
Very good show. So shout out to Robbie Shearwood. But
now, having some fun, Benny, but we do have a very, very special guest.
Yes.
I've got the stream going on Huddle, and I'm going to also pop out and put it on the Call of the Wild, because there might be some people who want to watch it on that platform. You know what I'm
They're just unilateral. They're not multi-platform.
Right. Anyway, enough of us. We've got about 35 minutes now with our next guest.
And our next guest, Pistols.
No.
So, Jeff, no.
We are very privileged because we might have had this bloke on the phone, but it's fantastic to have him in because a big occasion coming up, live here in the studio. Great occasion coming up this Saturday night, Lobethal Football Club, as we spoke earlier about their Hall of Fame, one of the best events that goes around in Hills football circles, in my honest opinion. A man who's been a key driver of it, and also he's been a member of the Hills Football League board. He's been a Hills Football League coach, and done a lot of things in football. So it's his views are very much respected, and a great Dave and qualified. The great Dave Karger joins us. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure's all ours.
It is all ours. So, firstly, what we got you in there for the first thing, the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Just tell us about it, how it was created, and what it's all about.
2009 we started, so this is the 7th Hall of Fame set up to recognise contribution from players, coaches, administrators, officials, beyond the usual parameters that clubs deal with, and it's important for the heritage of the club to build on those who came before us in particular, and help to create the culture and heritage of the club. I think it's been an important part of the club's culture. This is the 7th one. Yes.
How did the concept come about, and where did you draw the idea from?
It came about, a few of us just sat down one day and started talking about it. A fellow called Colin Dent from Sturt was very helpful in the early days. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We used Sturt's Hall of Fame and West Adelaide's Hall of Fame as exemplars, and then went from there, modified it according to our local needs.
At Pistols, we were talking before, David, the thing that we love about that, well, obviously the concept is great, but it's not just about the players. It's about coaches, as you said. It's about officials. It's about sometimes the people that are in the background.
Yes.
That get the job done, but go above and beyond. And I think that's the really exciting.
Coincidentally, this year we're doing exactly that with two stalwarts of the club who've been always there, doing performing those sorts of roles. I think the glue of the club.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a lot of people to get teams
over a very long period of time.
As we said, whether they're players, officials, gatekeepers, ground announcers, trainers,
caterers.
Yeah.
Hey, how many people, as you said, this is the 7th occasion, how many do you induct at each? I think the first
4.
one there was a lot, but
yes.
How many people overall have been inducted previously?
34.
Sorry?
34. I counted them up.
34, okay. And of course...
And 2 legends.
Yeah, I was going to say, on top of the Hall of Fame, you have the legends.
We have a legend this time.
So 2, if I believe, Jason
Ziller.
And our great mate, Tubby Feckner.
Yes.
Okay.
He's been an icon, to say the least.
Now, I've just popped in the studio, and excuse me if this question has been asked, we'll just move on. Is there a criteria?
Yes.
We're getting to that.
Oh, sorry.
That's a very good question. Great question, Benny.
We have a charter, and the criteria is, and I can't read it off verbatim, but it's very strictly followed to allow some non-emotional considerations to be made, because we're all aware of clubs and politics.
Yeah.
So we follow that charter very carefully. very strictly.
So how do you come to the decision who's in and who's out following your charter if they meet the category and the requirements, criteria? Thank you. Then how do you decide that goes in? So
the committee puts it to a vote, and then we just run it past the.
So Timmy might be up for it, but Benny and I don't like him, so he won't get it.
Yeah, no.
So there wouldn't be a chance you'd like to be on the committee. So
We'll get Mike Five for him.
It's very. We spend a lot of time researching factually. Yeah.
Can I ask you, is there anyone that you've overlooked because of that situation, or someone who should be in there, but?
No, not to my knowledge, but probably is.
Thoughts and all here, mate. You know that.
But to their defence, there's obviously a pretty strict criteria.
Yeah,
so
no,
you'd like
fantastic.
to think that you're not going to get someone.
No.
There should be some criteria in there somewhere that suggests that they haven't rubbed people up the wrong way.
No, of course.
And it's always good to be able to refer to that.
That's right.
Yes,
So,
yes.
just going to the playing side of things, Dave, because as Timmy said, we were discussing earlier, is there a criteria for the amount of games you've played?
No, not specific.
Mitch Grigg, could he be in the Legends? Well, he's a legend. It's a premiership player, but
I guess he'd have to be. Probably. See, Stephen Ziller's a good example. Stephen played.
Yes.
One A grade game for Lobethal, some Colts football, and a few Hall of Fames ago we inducted him as a honorary member.
Yeah.
We did the same with Richard Fox, the umpire.
Yes, we mentioned him before.
Yes, so we've been able to do it in that way. I don't know about Miss Gregg. Might be. Yes. Could be an interesting
That's
one.
For future committees.
So you have to be retired for a certain amount of
3
time?
years. 3 years as a player. So.
And how's it? And also, I believe you've got the new Travis Blunder. We spoke to the president earlier in here, and the new honour board is being unveiled also Saturday night. Which I reckon is
surprisingly, the club's never had one.
Yes, quite
It's quite.
For any
never had an honour board. There's a cricket one, but
life members.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, mixed up with the recreation ground life members and so we're a recreation ground. So that's apparently quite spectacular. It will be unveiled on the night in lieu of a guest speaker.
you haven't had a peek at it?
No.
Oh,
no.
special.
No, keep right away.
You so like the neutrality here. Just sit there and you avoid conflict. Now,
Yes.
Pistols, you said you've been to one of these evenings.
Oh, a couple of them, actually.
And obviously held in high regard, so looking forward to the evening Saturday night, no doubt.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Talking about the evening, not me.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. No, we are. Yeah, I think we've got about 90 coming. That's really good. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Actually, it's as you said, no guest speakers, but I've been fortunate enough to go in the past. I think you had Charlie Walsh.
He was outstanding.
Yes, and actually sat next to Robert Odie, the late Robert Odie, a couple of times. And some of the stories
Robert was a great supporter of the Hall of Fame. He was a great friend of the Lobethal Football Club, Robert. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, talking with Dave Karger here about the Lobethal Hall of Fame and because your journey in football. We'll just step that aside because, all right, boy from the mid-north,
Laura, Golden North, yes.
Yeah, just take us back that you got your start in footy.
Oh, in those days there was still 3 leagues in that area. Flinders, Bullaroo, Melrose, Wilmington, etc. Northern areas, Crystal Brook, Laura, Gladstone, Georgetown, Kowtowie, Warabra, Jamestown were a powerhouse, Kitskis and all that lot. Peterborough. Then there was Broughton, Port Broughton, of course, Mundura, Wandera, Red Hill, Blythe, Brinkworth, etc. Now, if you go back, when I left to do leaving honours a long time ago, those 3 leagues were still existing with their A's and B grades and 1 Colt side. You go back now, 1 league called Northern Areas, 6 clubs, Orroroo, Bullaroo, Wilmington and somebody else. Crystal Brook's still standalone. Jamestown, Appler. Peterborough no longer exists. Laura is Southern Flinders. That's Laura, Warabra, Gladstone, Georgetown and Kowtowie.
Amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
I know.
But it's going to change because the Auskick numbers are up this year nationally.
Yes.
It's nice to see. It might take a little bit of time, but it's nice to see because It is, we've had this discussion before. It's concerning to see leagues that were, or 3 leagues,
Yes.
as you said, that were all, fabric of the country. And
Yes.
it's the community, and obviously with that, it also affects the netball.
Yes.
But I think it's for the first time for a long time that the Auskick numbers are starting to get back up. So we might
Yes.
get a resurgence.
Yes. Yes.
Possibly it'd be a hard journey though for Oz kickers.
Well, mate, anything worthwhile.
We've
It's
been
not
around
easy.
for 10 years.
Is it?
It's participation, so that's
Yeah.
a good start. Yes.
So how does it affect that, as you said, growing up as a young fella and even playing? Community football, as Timmy was just saying, it's not just the sports side of things,
Oh,
it's
no.
the social gathering. So obviously there's areas now where there was a local football team.
Yes.
That's long gone, and
Yes.
maybe they'll get if they're in a combined situation, they might get 3 home games a
Yes,
year. Or
Laura gets
clubs
3
that have
home
disappeared
games a
completely.
season.
There's nothing. So, it's got to be
Yep.
effective, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get a bit emotional about it. I would have gone through a brick wall for the Red and Blacks as a young bloke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's we talk about the fabric of the community and all that sort of stuff, but it was an outlet, from
Yes.
If I don't know, maybe I'm overindulging here, but if you look at back in the day when we're talking about when things were flying, mental health, there was issues, but it was nowhere near as prevalent as it is now because they had these outlets in these country towns, and I talked to some people on the West Coast involved in footy, pretty heavily involved in footy. And they were concerned, especially for the guys that had retired, 45, 50, that their social outing was going to the footy club on a Thursday
Yes.
night, have a couple of beers, have a meal.
Yes.
When COVID came, that didn't happen.
No.
So there's a lot of those things that, there's the absolute physical thing, but the emotional well-being.
Yes.
For all these communities, and even up here when you start to see some of the clubs that are struggling.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the bigger things that have got to come into it.
And that's why the Hall of Fame remembering
Yes. Yes.
the people who have represented the club.
That's right. Exactly. Very important. Yeah.
It's fantastic when you, as I said, going along to these evenings and just encompassing the history of Lobethal Football Club. I think it's just out of the town towards Lenswood. There's actually a
Yes.
a stone can with a little bit of a plaque. That was the first Lobethal Oval.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Well, it was hard work uphill into the wind. I can tell you that.
And then, of course, they moved and the oval went the other way, I believe,
Yes.
at Lobethal.
Yes,
The old
it did.
green shed. I still remember as a
right.
kid playing
Yes.
in the
Sideways.
green shed, the
Yes.
old green shed,
Yeah.
which was very famous also on Sundays, I believe.
Yes.
Some of the happenings there. And also, Lobie's colours changed.
Yes.
And also the name was changed. of
Tweedvale.
course.
Tweedvale. During
During
the
the
First World War.
Tigers?
No, they were. Don't quote me. I think they might have been blue and brown or something.
Yeah,
like
chocolate
that.
and brown.
Yeah,
Yeah,
chocolate
you're
brown. That was anti-German feeling. Towns changed their names. Yeah.
And obviously, it's you're talking about the central hub of the community. Obviously, it was that during the bushfires as well.
Yes.
That was where a lot of the community came.
Yes. Yes.
For need.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very important. Yes.
Yeah, we talk about little communities losing their football teams and perhaps losing a little bit of their identity. Of course, you had a rather interesting appointment as a coach of a particular football club, and when you actually went to take the job, you found that club had merged. Just take us
Yes.
through that.
Well, I applied to coach. I arrived at the school and had a look for 12 months and thought
Lenswood.
and thought I wouldn't mind having a crack at this lot. They looked pretty handy in I think it was Division 2 in those days.
Yes.
So I applied for the job and then went to a meeting and told I was now coaching Ashton and Lenswood combined, and it was called Eastern Rangers. So that was
So how was
an
that?
interesting. Yeah.
That's where they coined the phrase, they just moved the goalpost.
Well, literally from Lenswood to Ashton. So what was the deal? Did they train one
We
night
trained at
Lenswood
Lenswood
and
Tuesday
Ashton?
night and Ashton Thursday nights.
Well, they're not exactly close together. It's a
No.
pretty windy road there
It
in the middle
was.
of winter.
Yes.
So how was that?
Cold and wet, yes. Yeah, and we had 2 or 3 good seasons, yes. I was with them for 3 seasons.
But how'd you go about as a coach? Because Ashton and Lenswood Rangers, pretty spirited opponents in their days. Suddenly they come together and were you like the demilitarised zone in the middle?
Yes.
The 2 group playing groups trying to bring them together or what?
Right, we'll meet at the halfway point, we'll duke it out and we'll see who's still left.
Yeah.
Yes, I inherited a good crop of Lenswood players,
Yep.
and they formed the majority of the A grade side. So we had the Greens and the Nortons and McKeckens and
Some good names.
yes, there's some good players. Yeah, they were good players. Yeah.
So just how did you go? You made finals? And
Yes, we did. Yes, we remember they threw all the clubs together in one division the first year.
yeah, 83.
So
yes.
we had some very one-sided games at times. I remember kicking 30-something goals against the Chunga
Yes.
Lenswood Oval.
Yep.
We played finals that year. We played finals each year, yes. We just got caught out with lack of depth.
Yeah.
The rot had set in, actually. The juniors were pretty ordinary in numbers.
Yes.
And
Got them in the end.
two small schools of about 80, Norton, Summit and Lenswood. And it was hard going, yeah.
That's been one of your memorable experiences, staying in the middle at circle work training at Ashton Oval on a Thursday night. You
Yes.
weren't able to see the end of the cricket pitch.
No, we had some interesting moments up there. I think the most famous one was we were playing, I don't know who we were playing, but a white horse came across the ground in the middle of an A-grade game, followed by a distraught young lady chasing it, and complete silence
During the game.
during the game. And Tony Lloyd, bless him,
Yeah, late Tony Lloyd, yeah.
said in a loud voice, "Here's your chance, Huggard. Get on that horse and keep going."
Referring to the umpire, Haggard, of course, yes.
Only Tony would do that.
That's gold.
Fantastic. Hey, as mentioned, the late great Tony Lloyd, of course,
Yes.
Lobethal's best and first, named
Yes.
after him.
Yes.
Of course, Sturt Premiership footballer,
Yes.
fantastic footballer, fantastic bloke. Just run us through some of the guys who've had the privilege of coaching both at Lobie and at Eastern Rangers, and just seeing play football here in the Hills Football League. Any favourites?
Graham Green was captain of Eastern Rangers, was an outstanding forward. The McKeckens were very good players. A fellow called Simon Cooper,
Yes.
I think, could have gone as far as he'd wanted to go. Jimmy Wilhelm, who I think is now a GP at Strathalbyn, was an extremely good centre half back. Kim Norton, all that lot. A couple of Rowe from Ashton, Downs from Ashton. There were some good players here. And I was lucky at Lobethal when I came over and took the under 17 senior Colts. We just had a crop come through: Zillers, Kings, Hackett's, Bormans, Stanburys, and we stuck at it for about 4 seasons. Couldn't beat Blackwood. They were too big and too strong, and had the advantage of having most of their team in their final year. Whereas the smaller towns
Yes.
had a scattering of 14s, 15s, 16s,
Yeah, the
17s.
underages, yep.
Yeah.
The bottom ages.
Yes, right. But we eventually beat them in 1989 and in a grand final. And then the theory was that after a couple of seasons, the committee suggested I perhaps go on with those fellows into A grade. And so and it worked to the extent that a lot of those lads played A grade and played in premierships later on. So I had the A grade for 3 years. I think we finished fifth, fourth and third. Trevor Hill came in for 2 seasons, and then Milsom came in and won the premierships consecutively.
That must give you a little bit of satisfaction.
I
know
think
you're
so.
a modest bloke, but some of the names you mentioned
Yes.
there, and someone went on to play
Well, I was a bit
reasonable
lucky that
high level football, but
they were
there's
handy a
somewhere
couple
along
of
the way that you passed on something.
Yeah, and the thing I remember about that Colts side was that I can't ever remember having to say, "Where's Colin Hackett tonight? He hasn't trained." Never missed a training. They were keen community boys, I guess. Yes.
And it's a tough, always has been. Like that age group is arguably
Yes.
the toughest age group to coach.
Yes.
Besides under eights, as our man over here would tell you.
Well,
Yes.
that's
Different
the
era.
jury's
though.
out on it. Depends on who you
Have you
talk
got any? Have you got any tips for a man who's a budding under 8 coach over here in Benny? How to go about
It's
it?
pretty hard though.
Look, as an
Leading
old
teams and
as
stuff
an old teacher, be prepared, be organised, be consistent.
Yeah, well, that's where you could be falling down, the consistency. I told you you've got the fiddler's elbows. You know, one week you're up, the next week you're down. Consistency, Benny.
No, noted.
Hey, having said that, and Benny could probably relate this.
And Ben, you've got to have some content knowledge. That helps.
Yeah.
Oh, he's all over that.
He's over that. I can't teach year 12 maths because I don't have the content knowledge. That's too many of our coaches don't have that. Yes, go on.
Would David Karger, how would he be as a coach these days? Because we talk about how things have changed. You've got the work situation, and some guys you can't. Well, you no doubt might have done it and got it yourself and be your playing days. The good old fashioned spray. You can't do that these days. How would you cope as a coach?
Someone told me I really struggle, so perhaps they're right. I don't know. I didn't think I was pretty calm. I think I was.
You weren't Alan Killigrew.
No, not at all. No.
Calm and placid like our man Goldie.
That's right.
He's not calm, placid.
Well, he's not when the boomers are coming. Occasion.
I've lost 6 players next season. Coach is too hard.
Hey, Lobie, we talked on other parts of the state where football was struggling to fill dunes, etc. At the northern areas, because you live in Lobie and you go out through Gamaraka,
Yes.
Torrens Valley, Burwood.
Yes.
The lack of junior sides, it must be a worry for the future.
It's a huge worry. If you're going to continue to be a community-based club, your basis is the junior component. Some thinking to be done. I mean, I'm disturbed by the scores I see on. I mean, some of the junior sides under 14s don't score.
It's not healthy.
That doesn't help them, and it doesn't help the side that's kicking 30 goals.
And it doesn't help the participation.
No.
I agree with you, Dave, 100%. And we've talked about it for a long time. There's going to be a crisis point.
Yes.
And I think we're probably at it now. But
I wonder if we need to take it, and this will upset traditionalists, that we need to take something out of netball. I believe netball, after a few matches, regrade. And I mean, there's a case for some of the sides in Division 1 to be playing against other clubs who are not in Division 1, so that the girls or boys have a chance to play in a competitive game on a Saturday.
In your time in the Hills Football League, as I said, being an administrator, being a coach, how have you seen is the game in a better state now? Because there's obviously less teams and less clubs, but the standard.
I think the standard is pretty high. I haven't been impressed with some of the Division 1. I haven't seen country this year, and I used to go and have a quiet look at country, but I haven't. But I think some of the games I've seen, it's very high. Ball movement is quick. Skills have improved. I thought last year's grand final showed that.
Just the juniors.
Yes. Yes, and it always comes back to the quality of the person in the middle of the circle, unfortunately.
How would you go about it with the current generation to get them interested in playing Hills footy, especially in the northern area?
I think you have to make the club make it welcoming. You have to be inclusive. You have to be fair. You have to. One of the things that I think, especially in under 14s, maybe even under 16s, that's always concerned me is that you, as a 14-year-old, start in the back pocket for Lobethal. You're still in the back pocket at under 18s. Now, it seems to me that there's no excuse for not, if you divide the oval into thirds, that being sensible, obviously a fellow 4'2" is not going to ruck, to give all those players a chance to play in each third. And they could play a month. They could play a month in each third. Not a quarter, a month, and get explicit coaching on playing those positions. So that's one of the things I think that could happen. I think it's a team game, and I think you've got to reward team things. So a little fellow who gets a clear kick away in a back pocket and it's taken down the ground, the goals kick, the runner should be going. I used to always coach like that anyway, rightly or wrong. I'd send started with you, half that goal's yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we always enjoy you because you're very astute and knowledgeable, so I think you'll bring something to this segment here with our tipping for the week, which hasn't been seen for a long time on this show. So we go.
Someone bringing something to it.
We'll venture into round 16. So we'll start off with the country division here, Dave. So Meadows taking on Birdwood. Birdwood have had some.
Meadows have been surprising. I thought they were. Their list looked very good, I thought.
So Meadows hosting Birdwood. How do you see this?
Meadows ground. They've got a lot to play for. I'll go for Meadows, I think.
Timothy.
Yes, I think I'm going to go with his astuteness, and I think Meadows.
Oh, amazed after the boom is just sticking with the green and gold colours.
He just keeps bringing it up, doesn't he?
I'll go the Roosters.
Yeah, I like the Roosters. I think they're on a bit of a roll.
Roosters
so
on
they
a roll.
could shore up second spot. So Roosters for me. This will be a boomer. Kangarilla just down the road. Kangarilla hosting Gumaraka. Of course, Gumaraka going pretty well at the moment. Only the one loss. So
Gumaraka.
Pretty hard to go past Gum.
Yeah, I think we saw them last week. They're pretty good. I think Kangarilla.
Just double checking the goats. Tips
He's
in.
led from start to finish.
And got a handy lead too. 5 points in the tipping cup.
And while we're on the subject of Kangarilla, well done to Heath Thorpe playing his 500
500
this week. Of course, moved down to Mundalla.
He was at Mundalla, yes.
Back home. So,
Quiet 500.
so just a lazy 500.
Lazy
So,
5.
and
two this season.
the final game of the round.
Nathan Duffield played his 500th too this year.
Yeah, I did see
year.
that.
God.
Torrens Valley, it's their last game of the season as they had the bye in the last round. They're hosting Kersbrook at Mount Pleasant.
I'd be confident Kersbrook would win that one.
And I'm going to jump on the coattails of David's confidence, and
I'm
I'm equally confident that Kersbrook will take care of the Torrens Valley Football Club, even at home.
And I'll go Kersbrook, but shout out to Lynn Wilhelm, who's just stepping down from her involvement in Torrens Valley. She's a
long time stalwart.
Dear me.
Incredible. For the work that she does. I'll go for the Brookers. Now, Division 1, Blackwood. Windy Hill hasn't been a really happy trip in the past for the Barkeroos. How do you see this one? Blackwood, Mount Barker.
Oh, I think Mount Barker have got a lot to play for. And
Freudian slip there.
I haven't had many joyful days at Blackwood.
No.
A couple didn't really want to leave.
I keep thinking Mount Barker might be a bit of a smoky. I'm going to say Mount Barker. I think if they get their act together in the next few weeks, could be around the mark.
Get their act together, Tim. That's cool.
I am liking David more and more, and his wrap up there with the Rouge is 100% correct. They showed last week against Nairn that they can play good footy.
Yes.
They let a 1 quarter slip. But look, if the Rouge are going to be serious this season, they need to take care of Blackwood. Tough game. Like you're right, Pistols, a tough game up there at Windy Hill. But I think for me it's the Rouge.
Rouge, and notice Geordie was back. Geordie Houlihan, so that was good.
Pretty handy, mate. Kicked 2, I think, last week.
2 3, I think.
Coachell kicking 3 and Big Hines kicking 3. So
I think Coach Lackenby will certainly have the message out of him this week. They're going to play 4 quarters, so I'll go for Blackwood. Then Bremer taking Onka Valley. Onka's a first up win last week under interim coach Shane Collins. Can they make the short journey across the Nairn Oval and win, David?
No.
Straight to the point.
I think I'm pretty sure it was a close question.
I think Nan are going to finish in the top 2 without too much trouble.
Going nicely under medium Mike. Yep.
Mate, Big Dale's got the Rams just ticking along nicely. Ran into young young Duncan. That's Dale's the coach. Young Duncan Rogers on the way in tonight. He's works here.
Yes.
You know, boys. He had a good game last week. The Rams are just shaping up very, very nicely, mate, and they'll take care of the doggies, no problems.
Brock not back.
And
Corey
also
Kelly oozing.
Squid's back. Svedetsky.
So I did speak to Gilesy after the game on the weekend. He's a bit hard, these Nairn ruckmen, they hit you hard, he said. So, the Rams will get this one.
All right, the Rams on that one. Okay, the clash of the divisional demons down at Chunga hosting Urada Districts.
Oh, I think Urada have just... they'll play finals. I think they're more settled and better balanced, and always respect that lot. When the whips are cracking, they're always around the place. You're right, Lou.
I'm not going to get David to do my tips
He
for me. He summarises it beautifully, and he does set the scene. Look, the Cutters need to get this one done. Again, if they're going to be, are they going to go deep in the finals? they're going to need to get this one done. I hope Achunga brews them up because we've got to face them in a couple of weeks. But Amato was back last week.
No, he wasn't, but he will be.
He will be.
Was he back last? I thought he was back last week.
No.
He's back this week.
Yeah.
I think that would have been mentioned in the write-up.
Yeah.
The other left footer's handy too.
Timpano.
There he goes. Very, very nice. Yeah, but yeah, the cutters for me.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'll go with the Demons.
Yeah, Demons for me. Sorry.
Northern variety. And the final game, of course, big celebration day at Mount Lofty. Lofty Legends as a host the mighty Tigers.
Yes, well, I'm hoping for Lobethal, but I've got a lot of respect for Borden and what he's done.
They won last start at Heathfield Oval.
Yes, but I'm not too sure after last week's form whether you'd be that confident. I'm hoping Lobethal can win, but I think Mount Lofty are building nicely. They're looking pretty good, I think.
Lofty for me.
Lofty for me.
Yeah,
They're not two trick Tigers against the.
I think the Lofties will get up, and also there'll be the game, the Call of the Wild, on Filming Footy this week, live
from the
stream
balcony.
Live from the balcony. Live from the balcony. We take our life into.
We did. I had
balcony.
something drop on the top of my head when I was going back to the coach's box at that place once.
Dangerous place up there.
It can be.
Some very loose units up there at times too.
I think the B grade had been there for a half, watching the A
Yeah,
grade.
that's true.
When I say when the
And I think they start there for the second half of the senior cup before they go out for the B.
when I say when the Devils are rocking the they come and knock them, the balcony's rocking or
Yeah,
whatever.
well.
So, but anyway, all right.
Thank you.
David, been an absolute pleasure to have you.
Has been a pleasure.
And
Thank
all
you.
the best for Saturday night.
Thank you.
Just quickly.
Thanks for your support. You've been tremendous over the
in
years.
the Hall of Fame?
No,
You better check
Come on,
that.
Dave.
it's slightly.
You vote against yourself?
Yes.
Can we start a Huddle Hall of Fame?
We could.
Dave Karger
We
for the
could.
Hall of Fame.
Well, we got out there. All right. David, thanks for joining us.
Thank
thanks
you,
also
and thank you for your
to,
support.
all our other special guests, actually, to you, Tim, once again.
Pleasure, Pistols.
I know you've got to leave early, go around Mike's place for tea.
Yep.
But we thank you
I'm
for your
taking dessert.
input. Thank you to Benny.
Yep.
And, we'll catch you next week here in the Huddle.
Coming up very shortly. He's looking back
Yeah,
with Brendan.
and looking forward to that one for sure. So until we catch you again on the Huddle, keep chasing your goals. Bye for now.
Stay safe, team.
Thank you very much. That was lovely. Well done. Well done.
Oh, hang on. Oh, no. That's no worries.